Good evening, everybody. Welcome back. This is Web3 DJs. I'm Hofstra with my co-host Sticky Finger Jones. We have a very special guest today, Mr. Tankman, Gary Backe from the Bulls and Apes Project. What is up?
How's it going, guys? Man, I'm so stoked to be here. Thank you guys for inviting me on. I appreciate it.
Yeah, our
Absolutely.
pleasure.
So we met at the Nifty Alpha party at NFT NYC. How did that whole thing wrap up for you? Did you guys meet a lot of people? I saw you're doing some stuff with the Kumite crew. They were there too. What was your experience like?
It was really cool. We got to meet some really cool people, and we got to meet you, which was awesome. I appreciate you guys inviting me on. We made that connection there at New York. We met Kumite. Kumite was awesome. We actually just did a space with them this last Thursday. They did Friday. They did a space with us the week prior, so it was a great collaboration. Our project is really big in collaborating with projects that have similar values, similar roadmaps, similar visions for where we think Web3 is going. So we aligned on a lot of those key points and decided to do collaboration with them, and it was great. We had a great time.
That's awesome. Yeah, and when we were talking, I was kind of blown away. Your background is really unique. You're a pretty successful guy outside of Web3 and decided to take the plunge here. Maybe you can talk about that. What is your background? How did you find your way to the crypto space and then ultimately creating and being the chief strategy officer of Bulls and Apes?
Yeah, so it's actually kind of a fun story. So I'm an entrepreneur, a serial entrepreneur. I've had a number of businesses. My current business that I've been running for 26 years is in the environmental construction industry. So strong in construction, strong in environmental, and cryptocurrency I got involved with in 2020. My best friend, Manny, who's also known as Neo Ape in the project, he's one of the co-founders of Bulls and Apes, got me into cryptocurrency, told me about Bitcoin, told me about Ethereum back when Bitcoin was, $3,000, and I think ETH was $150 or $180. So started doing the DCAing into cryptocurrency. It was a struggle. I struggled like a lot of people do, and I think that's where my passion for Web3 came from, because getting into cryptocurrency was difficult. Difficult to set up the Coinbase, difficult to set up MetaMask. Was scared to death of losing what I was putting in there. And he walked me through it and got me involved. So fast forward a couple years later, and he had an exit from the company that he was with his business partner, and started telling me about NFTs and said, you got to get into this NFT space. It's really, starting to kick off. We think it's the future of not only investing, but the future of Web3. So I got involved at the end of 2021, bought my first NFTs in November, started collecting, and then he tells me he's starting a project with a couple other guys and to check it out. And I just became a community member. I hung out in the Discord. I didn't dox who I was. Nobody knew that he was my best friend, but I was just in hanging out, and I really fell in love with the whole community aspect. Web3 is a different animal. And when you get into Discord and see how tight the communities are, how they believe in the projects that they're following, got onto some spaces, hung out with some DJs, really connected with some people. And the next thing I know, my having fun hanging out in Discord turned into, hey, come help us out a little bit here and there. I started helping out. And the next thing I know, they're offering me an executive position as chief strategy officer. And I took it. I haven't worked for somebody in over 27 years. And I thought, you know what, why not? Let's go have some fun and let's do this. So that's where I'm at.
That's awesome. I think one of my favorite things about NFTs is just what you hit on, that community aspect. Like, let's take any sort of brand, for instance. If I'm a clothing brand, if I'm wearing that clothing brand, they're not going to reach out to me and say like, hey, why don't you come join our team? But here in the NFT space, you can, actively engage with founders of products, and you can really make your mark. And there's a ton of opportunity there. Now, ask, you said you're the chief strategy officer. What exactly does that entail? How long have you had this position, and what does that entail?
So I've had the position for about a month. I actually started with the company as the brand ambassador. So basically being the face, being out there doing videos. We're starting a podcast that's going to be sponsored by the company. So I'm super excited about that. But one thing just led to another. And as this space grew and as our project grew, they started seeing a need for more support. So being an executive myself for my own company and multiple other companies that I've owned, Manny asked me, hey, come on board and help us out. So I guess my position is still being defined. I'm working with Anthony. Anthony's our CEO, also one of the founders. There's 3 founders of the project, Anthony, Guy, and Manny. And I'm working with Anthony as a partner to help him as he's starting to develop the company, starting to put together our structure. We're hiring constantly every day. I think we're close to 40 staff already, 20 to 25 probably full time. Wow. Because it's more than just an NFT project. Yeah. It's we're taking this very seriously. We're taking what Web3 is, what we want to offer to the space. A big part of wanting to make a change in the space, make a statement. We've done some really innovative things already, and we're only a month old, so we're really, really excited about it. So as far as my position, still being defined. I'm jumping in, helping out where I can, helping with strategy based on the title, of course. But just overall working with the entire team, and we have a lot of talented people working for us.
So when you're talking about differentiating your guys' self from other projects, what specifically do you mean? What about the other projects? I mean, there's some obvious answers there, but what makes you guys different, and why would an investor, someone looking at this, jump in, and what could they expect that would be kind of new?
So, well, let's start out. We have 3 major talking points that we talked about when we started the NFT. The first and foremost was doxed founders. Everybody on the team that is an executive position of the founders are fully doxed. You guys see my name up there. My first and last name are there. You can find our LinkedIn profiles. You're looking right there at our homepage. You see Anthony Mangello, Guillermo Puyol, and Manny Coates for all the founders, and they're all fully doxed. They've got their LinkedIn profile. So that was number one. When this project was started, there were a lot of rug pulls, a lot of cash grabs, a lot of scams going on. End of 2021 was crazy, and beginning of 2022. So when we came into this space, we thought, we need to do something different. We need to stand out. So that was number one, was being fully doxed. Number 2 was being fully funded. So we are fully funded for this first mint, which is our OG bulls, and then the secondary mints within the OG bulls, which we'll hopefully talk about. But then we have a mint number 2 that's coming as well, which is still a few months down the road, and everything in between, talking about financing of the company, the structure, the staff, all of that has been pre-funded. So we're not relying on the mint funds from our mint to fund our roadmap. And then the third thing, which was the most innovative, was anybody that got in at our allow list price or our public price at mint, they have a 6-month ETH-Back Guarantee. So anybody that purchased our NFT, if for whatever reason, for the first 6 months, they decide they're not happy with our roadmap, they're not happy with the direction that the project is going, they can go onto our website, they can click a button, and then get their ETH back. No questions asked. Wow. And I think we're the first project to ever offer that with no questions asked. There's 2 criteria. They couldn't interact with the smart contract and claim the tokens that we offer with holding the bull, and they could not transfer that bull from a wallet to wallet once they held it. But just those 2 things were the only criteria. You get your ETH back. I mean, where is that found? No place in Web3 can you get your money back if you're not happy with the project. And because of that, all of our minted funds, all the funds that were generated during our mint are locked in the smart contract for 6 months. So that's another reason why being pre-funded was important, because we're saying and making a statement, we're operating like a regular company would be, where you get your capital, you build a company. We're not building a company off the backs of our initial purchasers or investors. We're saying we're in this for the long haul. This is what we're going to offer.
Wow.
Yeah. And in 40 days roughly is how long you guys have been open. Having 40 full-time employees is a sizable payroll. That's not a normal, small company grow. I mean, you guys have a chunk of people you're paying for already.
Yeah, 25 full-time, 2025, but still 2025 full-time with 40 total. It's big. It's a big payroll, but in order to do what we want to do in the space, and in order to make the statement, it takes a lot of talented people to do that. That's the great thing about our founders. Our founders are super smart. Anthony comes from the corporate background. He's super technical. As a matter of fact, he programmed and created our rarity tool. That's him, and deployed it. Yeah, it's awesome. And we have a very unique rarity tool that's just to ourselves, because we have over 400 traits to our NFT. And then Guillermo and Manny are both from the Web2 space. They had an amazing exit with a company that they started in the Amazon space called Helium 10. Both retired a couple years ago. So we have some very smart and successful business people as founders, but they also know that in order to build a great business, you have to have smart, successful people around you. And that's what they're doing. They're building a team. They're building a team of really smart individuals that can take us to that next level and elevate the company, the Bulls and Apes Project, above what's in the space right now.
Yeah, I'm pulling up your rare. Oh, I accidentally went back, but I had your rarity tool pulled up here, and yeah, it is quite impressive. Definitely not something that I've seen before. And so, what exactly was the thinking behind wanting to have something on your own? Is it just because of the way that rarities are kind of currently determined in the market, and that there's a ton of ambiguity, and that here you would have something empirical suggesting like exactly what is valued at what, or what was the thinking behind that?
Exactly. You know, our project has so many unique rarities to it that there are some good rarity tools out there. I mean, you know, Trait Sniper. There are some good rarity, but the problem was they didn't take into consideration certain aspects of our project. I'll give you an example. So in our project, we have T-shirts with, you know, similar to what I'm wearing, that have certain sayings on them.
Okay.
Well, in that T-shirt collection, we may have 200-300 T-shirts, but we may only have 2 or 3 of a certain saying. Well, a lot of rarity tools will utilize that data in their algorithm and make those 1 or 2 saying T-shirts rare in a collection, when we value certain traits like gold bodies or gold horns or gold accessories as a higher ranking. So because of that, it would sometimes rank these, what we would consider floor bowls that had maybe just a single saying on a T-shirt, higher than what we would some of our gold trait bowls. And so it was difficult. Even though we worked with those rarity tools to try to correct that, it made it difficult. So in that example with the T-shirts, we may have a few hundred T-shirts. They're ranked based on a T-shirt ranking, and then within that T-shirt ranking, those rarity shirts would be ranked higher in that subgroup. So our tool really breaks that down into those details and uses those algorithms to create the rarity that we know our collection has. And so it's more fair and better provides our rarity in our tool itself. So that's why we did it.
Yeah, that makes a ton of sense. You know, I'll speak from personal experience. I am, I guess, a bit of a degen is the Web3 term, and I'm always looking for my next play, right? Every single one of my assets is always listed because, you know, everything's for sale at the right price for me. And so I can't tell you how many times I've been in negotiations with an individual, and, you know, I'm saying, hey, your NFT is ranked this. They go to a different website and say, no, I'm, you know, 400 places higher. It's ranked this. And it's tough for us to kind of, you know, come to common ground here. And so it's really great that you guys have kind of taken the ambiguity out of it. Now,
Right.
One of the things I wanted to circle back to and ask you about is you are a self-proclaimed serial entrepreneur, right? And you said your most recent business, your environmental construction business, you've been with for about 26 years. So I think anyone would mark that as a success, right? That's a long time. So through your time as a serial entrepreneur, what have you learned that has really benefited you as you're building a project from the ground up here in Web3? Because I mean, it's exactly not exactly the same, comparable in what you're trying to do, right? You're building a business. You're bringing something that did not previously exist and attempting to, you know, bring it to its peak.
Yes. I think the number one for me, customer service, community service. Our community is our customer. So I think it's super important that coming into this space, you know, and I don't want to speak bad about projects. I mean, we've had some bad projects in this space, but a lot of projects will come in and say, hey man, I can sell this NFT and I can make $2 million. And then I'll do something with it and try to provide some utility to our community. And they look at it as, well, hey, you own my NFT. It has a value. Look, at the value is higher. That's your benefit. I think that's wrong. I think the NFT is great. I think it provides a value, you know, in the fact that maybe we have a multiplier. You know, our NFT, our bull, sold at 1.17 as a floor price, as a allow list 0.22. We minted in less than 67 hours. Our floor price is 0.46. So we're 2 times what our mint price was in 40 days, which is great. I mean, that's awesome. But I don't think that's the end. I think this space is getting smarter, and I think that there's an expectation that an NFT project isn't just going to lean on the value of their NFT. They're saying, look, there's a lot of great NFTs out there and great art, and if we want to collect art, we're going to go find that. But as a company, we need to come at this and say, you know what, we're not just providing a great NFT and great art, but we're providing utility via tokenomics, being deal flow, being any of these other things that we're creating right now that are going to give back to our community, our customer, which is what we do in the Web 2 or in the IRL space, like I have, is I don't have a business unless I provide customer service. I need to make sure that I'm providing that utility, that constant service back to my customer, to make sure they're going to stay with me, to make sure they're going to buy my next service, to make sure they're going to, pay for that monthly service I'm going to have, or that new construction project, or whatever it is. I'm working on providing great customer service and a great product. That's what we need to do in the Web3 space. We've got to provide a great product, but we have to provide great customer service, because if our community is not happy, they're going to go find the next project. They're going to look at the next shiny object down the street and off they're going to go, which is what usually happens in these communities. Until the next one comes along, off they go, and then you're left figuring out, how do you raise your floor price? What do you do to build your community back up? How do you keep that engagement? We're looking at engagement on Twitter. We're looking at engagement on Discord. That's how we gauge our success. And that's where we're going to figure out what we need to do to maintain that engagement. And that's through customer service or community service. That's what I believe.
Yeah. So speaking to that a little bit, what I guess would be the long-term play if you guys are running it like a business? I'm sure you have your 2, 3, 4, 5 year. I mean, in this space, it's kind of hard to say what's going to happen a year from now.
Right.
But in a perfect world, what does that look like when you guys execute?
So in a perfect world, what we're doing is we're providing the NFT as a ticket, I guess you could say, into what we're offering as a company. So as an example, let me give you a couple of examples. So our biggest utility right now, and keep in mind, we've only been out for 40 days, right? So that's
Right.
it, 40 days, less than 2 months. So our biggest utility right now is our tokenomics, and which is something I'm super passionate about. Just our tokenomics alone are generating additional assets for our holders. So as a holder of our OG bull, if you hold the bull, you're gaining 10 methane. We call it methane because that's what cows give out, right?
I thought that was hilarious.
Yeah, so meth tokens. So our OG bulls generate 10 tokens per day. You don't have to stake it. You don't have to do anything special with it. You don't have to say, I'm not going to sell it. All you do is hold it in your wallet. You're gaining 10 tokens per day. Those tokens are a utility token. It's an ERC20 token still, but it's a utility token that lives within our ecosystem. And then within that ecosystem, you take those tokens and you can mint additional NFTs for free. Gas fees is it. So we have utility tokens, which is an incubator that you mint with your OG bulls. With that incubator and additional meth tokens, you then mint a teen bull. So those just got launched last Friday, a week ago this Friday. So I think we're 9 days into that. Those are the incubators. Those are our utility tokens. You can see 0.22 floor price on our utility tokens. And those are free. And that's our incubator and our orb. And those are generated with the tokens you get from just holding our bulls. The most impressive thing is our other collection, which is the teens. Now the teens are a collection of 12,450. They're very similar to our OG bulls. They have similar traits and some unique traits, but you can see they're a 0.3 floor. These were minted for free. So we have community members, and then there's a God bull on top of that. If you were to go back into our OG collection, you'll see a God bull. Those are also minted for free. Those would be, you'd have to type in God as a search, and you could find the God bull.
I'll pull it up right now.
Yeah, those are also minted free, and those are limited collection. There's only 500 of them in our overall collection. So let me break it down. So you got your OG bulls, which is your first. Then from the OG bulls, you go to an incubator, which is a utility NFT. The incubator, you go to a teen bull, which is that awesome art. 12,450 of them in the collection. Their cool thing about that is they're deflationary. The way that our tokenomics work, they're deflationary. So by the time we're done, we'll have 9,000. Those have a floor price of 0.3. Then you go to an orb. An orb is another utility that you have to mint free. with the orb and then additional teen NFTs, you can then mint the God Bowl. And I think our first God Bowl sold for 7 ETH. That's the God Bowl.
Wow.
And those are minted. You can't buy them. You have to mint them utilizing the tokenomics in our project. These are already out and you can see what the pricing is. And I think we've got some on the floor for 2 or 3 ETH, but we actually had one sell for 7 ETH this last week. These are all free. Nothing you have to do. It's crazy, right?
Crazy for sure.
Yeah. So a big part of what we want to do is we want to say,
I'm curious.
Yeah.
No, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I'm just trying to
Yes,
understand. So let's say I bought a Genesis today.
Okay.
I would start earning 10 methane every day,
Mhm.
and then I would be able to mint an incubator, and then that's what potentially gives me.
Right.
It's
So let
not
me
a
walk
teen; it's some other like God
Well, no.
Bowl or.
Yeah, so let me walk through the process. There's a little bit of tokenomics and levels that you go through, and I'll walk through the process for you. So if you look at our OG bulls have traits, but not only do they have traits, they have what we call a guild. A guild is a north, south, east, or west. So we have a really cool lore. It's an animation, like a storyboard animation that we've put out. It's 15 minutes long.
I watched it today. It was actually really good. And here's your YouTube. Sorry again to interrupt.
No, it's
To
perfect.
show everybody, here it is. It's here on YouTube, and we'll have the links in the video description. So you should
Appreciate
definitely check this out. It was really cool. Very
Thanks.
soothing to listen to as well. The narrator was great.
Yeah, and we did that before we ever launched, and which is something else that's unique. A lot of projects will offer animation or all these other things. We said, you know what, we're going to do this animation up front. We're going to offer this storyboard animation. But what's cool about it is it actually walks through our roadmap when it comes to tokenomics. So everything I'm going to explain to you right now, if you watch the lore, is explained in the lore in a story type way. So what you do is you have these bulls that are divided into 4 guilds. And in our tokenomics, you take 2 bulls of the same guild. So let's say you have 2 South bulls. Once you have 2 South bulls, you can mint or breed, what we call breed, an incubator. So each bull has 3 breedings. So there's limited breedings to your bulls, and you can mint up to 3 incubators. So you take 600 methane tokens, you take the 2 bulls from the same guild, you breed an incubator. Now you get that incubator in your wallet. Then you take 600 additional meth tokens and that incubator, and you create a teen bull. That's how you're leveling up. It's a leveling up system, right?
Yep.
Once you have that teen bull, the teen bulls have guilds as well. You have to collect 5 teen bulls. Okay, so you'll have to have a teen bull from each guild, north, south, east, and west, and then just a common teen of some kind. You take that common teen and you take 2,400 tokens and you mint an orb. Then once you have the orb in your wallet, you take those 4 teens of separate guilds and the orb and 4,800 additional tokens, and then you can mint a God Bowl. So there's some work. You know, not everybody gets to mint the God Bowl right away. You actually have to work at it. You've got to be able to collect the correct gilded OG bowls, then mint your incubators and your teens. And it's a game. We've gamified it. So we're basically saying to our community, if you believe in our project, you're holding the OG bowls, and you want to play our game, which is what we have, we're going to give you all of these free NFTs. And it's not just cheesy NFTs. They're true 3-dimensional art. You saw the teens.
Yep.
And then what our community is doing is they're taking those teens and they're selling them. I mean, we've had community members that are minting teens and selling them and buying ETH, getting ETH. We've had members in our community. We have a whale, what we call a whale. He holds 32 OG bulls, and he was thinking, okay, I'm going to go ahead and utilize my 32 OG bulls to play the game to get to the God Bowl, because the God Bowl is the ultimate thing that I want. Well, once we launched the secondary portion of our NFT, which was the teens, he started looking at the floor and he's like, holy cow, people are putting up these utility NFTs and the teens for 0.25, 0.333, whatever it was at the time. He's thinking, you know what? I'm going to take, and I'm just going to go to that level. I'm going to mint some incubators and mint some teens. So he did that. Then he took those and put them on secondary, sold them, and in the first day was able to go in and sweep the floor of our OG bulls and buy 8 OG bulls with nothing out of pocket other than his gas fees at about $10 a transaction. So then what he did was he took those 8 OG bulls, put them in his wallet. Now he's got 40. Now he's gaining an additional 80 methane tokens per day on those 8 OG bulls. Now, here's the crazy part. We did not set up a liquidity pool. We promised and said to our community, look, we're not going to do liquidity pool. Our tokens are ERC20 tokens. You can do what you want with them. We do have community members that are working on doing that. But our community is so smart. They got together and they said, you know what? We're going to create a trading platform and we're going to buy and sell methane tokens on this trading platform that our community set up. We're not supporting it. We just let our community do what they want.
Yeah.
They're buying and selling these methane tokens between 45 and 50 cents a piece.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So this guy, one of our whales that ended up generating an additional 80 methane tokens per day, he's making, not including his 32, $40 of passive income. When we say that loosely, because we're not a security, we don't offer this, as our community doing this, but he's earning $40 a day passive income by just holding the OG bulls based on what our methane is trading for through our community. That's insane. So, we have projects that are offering utility or saying they're going to do utility. We're giving utility. That is truly what we're doing. And we're only 40 days in it. And that's only one thing that we're doing. The other thing that we're doing is we're bringing deal flow to our community. So we have people in the community that are like, hey, we want to invest. We want to invest outside of the Web3. NFTs are great. Cryptocurrency is great, but we'd like to get into some traditional investments. I'm an angel investor myself. I invest in startups, venture capital. I've been doing that for a couple of years. Manny actually got me into that. Manny is a huge venture capitalist. He's invested in over 650 companies himself. He's invested in companies like OpenSea, MetaMask. He invested in MetaMask.
Wow.
Who invests in MetaMask? He has yeah. So he has connections of doing that. So what he said is, look, I'm going to bring my connections to our inner circle. So our inner circle is anybody that holds a bull is considered part of our inner circle. So there's some criteria. You have to get accredited. You have to have a certain amount of income or asset. But if you get accredited, you now have access to that deal flow. And we've already brought 2 deals to our inner circle community and says, hey, here's some, these are startups. These are companies that are getting into whatever space it may be. One of them was a financial space in India. The other one was a tech company in AI that he just brought. And Jeff Bezos is actually investing in it. So we're having an opportunity to get into a company that Jeff Bezos is investing in, which is insane. How can you say that I'm investing in a company that Jeff Bezos is investing in, right? That's crazy. But he brought that to our community. And what's great about it is you don't have to have a lot of money to invest. The limit, the minimum is $2,000. So you can invest. Zuckerberg and Bezos is investing in this company that he brought. You can invest $2,000. What if this company is a unicorn and does 100x or 1,000x? And you've now been able to get yourself into a ground floor company that nobody else would have access to. And that's what we're doing for our community. That's just 2 things. And we're only 40 days into our project. And we have a lot of other things planned. We have education. We've got an amazing educational tool that's getting ready to come out that we're going to be releasing. That's called NFT 101. It's going to walk people through. Remember when we started the interview, I told you when I got into this space, like most people, I was super scared about opening Coinbase. I didn't know what KYC was. I was super scared about doing MetaMask. People telling me, oh God, don't lose those your key phrases or you'll never be able to get into it. You hear all these horror stories about somebody that lost their hard drive and has millions of dollars that can't get to it, right?
Yep.
And that was scary. And that is a big barrier of entry for bringing people from Web 2 into Web 3. And we know that. So we're creating an educational tool that we're going to get out there that is going to walk people, hold their hand, and show them through these short videos that they can digest, not an hour that you have to sit through, but short videos of how to set up a Coinbase, how to set up a MetaMask, how to buy Ethereum. Why do we have to buy Ethereum? How to move Ethereum from Coinbase to MetaMask. Then once you've got it, how do you mint into a project? And then we're going to be doing an educational series on security. Right now, the free mint is a terrible thing in our space right now. I don't want to say that negatively, but nobody's doing research and they're just clicking on whatever they think they can get for free and they're getting wiped out, right? We've had a lot of our community suffer from this and it's terrible. It's absolutely horrid.
Yes,
so
sir.
We're like, what can we do to help educate not just our community, but the broader Web3 space? So these are the things that we're building and the reason why we're building such a large team to bring something different and unique to the Web3 space. So it's a big deal to us and that's the future. So I'll tell you, you'd ask me, what is it 2 to 3 years down the road? What's our plan? So one of the things that our founders have always said, Manny and Guy specifically, because they had an exit in the Amazon space and they made a statement in the Amazon space. They did something that had never been done with Helium 10. When they looked at coming into Web3, they said, you know what? we don't need this. I mean, they were retired. They didn't need to come into the Web3 space. They did this because they saw a need. And what they said was, what we want is we want to make a statement. We want to look back 5 years from now and see that other companies are offering ETH-Back guarantees. Other companies are fully doxed. Other companies are getting funding before they come into this space to offer and tell their community that we're serious about creating a business, not just a cash grab. So their goal is to build something that has an impact in this space and to be able to look back and go, yes, it's a business. And you know, we're not doing this for free, but we want to have a positive impact in the space and set a roadmap, literally a roadmap for creating a successful business in the Web3 space.
No, that's really cool. And that's something, yeah, I'm also a business owner. I've got probably not as big a one, but I have about 100 employees, about 16 million-ish, 9 years in. And, we're at a point now where it's like, what's next? And that's different in, where we're at now versus where we were at in the beginning. But it's interesting. The first thing I saw, like when I got into the space, was these aren't actual business plans. It's just like, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. And I was just thinking, like, imagine going to an investor, someone that's going to give you money, and just saying, oh yeah, we're going to build this, we're going to build that. They would have been like, okay, how much? How long is it going to take for me to get my money back? They would ask real questions. And you're absolutely right. I think that first year period is wearing off, where people are like, okay, let's see actually what you're going to do. We need a real plan now. So that's really cool that you guys are, bringing that to the space, because it's much needed.
Yeah. I mean, like you said, if you want to start a business in the IRL, you have to have a business plan. You've got to have a business plan. Shoot, most of the time you got to have good credit, especially nowadays, right? And you're going to have some kind of skin in the game if anybody's going to take you seriously. And I don't want to knock. There are some really good degen projects out there, and I call them degen because there's some projects out there that have created some awesome art. A lot of really good one-of-one artists, and I think the one-of-one artists personally are being left behind in this space. Everybody's looking at that generative art. They're looking at that quick flip. They're looking at, oh, I'm going to buy something and it's going to go up in value. I'm going to be able to make some money. And I think that there's I get into a lot of spaces that have some really cool one-of-one artists, and I'm really rooting for the one-of-ones, because I think there's definitely a niche in Web3 for one-of-ones. So I don't know where we fit into that. I don't know if we do, but I think there's definitely a need for an area for one-of-ones. So there are some other good things other than what we're doing. But what we're saying is we don't want to change the whole space. We see that there's a lot of different areas in here. And when we got into this space, we were called the corporate coming in. We heard it. We started doing our mega spaces. We'd have 1,000 people in our spaces. We'd be giving away stuff. We were the corporate guys. The degens were looking at us like, here comes the corporate companies. They're coming in to take over. That's what it's going to do. And we used to say, we're like, okay, well, wait a minute. I get that you think we're corporate, but when corporate really does come in here, you tell me that when you're going to be able to go into a Discord when Nike decides to come into this space, and you're going to be able to hit up the president of Nike. Never going to happen, right?
No way.
We're accessible, right? We're accessible. You can DM me on Twitter, and unless I've got 100 DMs in there, I'm going to answer you back. I'm in Discord all the time, messaging in Discord. So yes, we have a corporate background, but we're not corporate. We want to be the bridge to Web 2, which I think is a benefit to this space. Right now we have a pool of people and everybody's playing in the same pool, and we just keep recycling, right? Everybody's recycling,
Sure.
Everybody's recycling. And in order to grow this space, if we really want to see our floor prices of these great, awesome projects go up, we've got to onboard new people. We've got to get
100%.
Web 2 people to come in here, and they're scared to death. They think it's a scam. They think it's a Ponzi scheme. They think all these terrible things. So what we're looking at is we're saying, you know what? There's space in here to create a company that has a structure, that has this Web 2 anchor to it. People like myself that come from the business, people like Anthony that comes from the corporate world, people like Manny and Guy that have done an amazing job with an entrepreneur and built a Web 2 company and have major exits. We have all these things to offer in this space, and we want to say, look, we want to help this space. We're not coming in here to take over.
Mhm.
We're coming in here to just lay our little plot of land here and say, this is what we can do and we want to offer. And we're going to bring people with us. We're going to bring Web 2 people. And then once they get in this space and understand how to use this space and what this space is about, guess what? They're going to probably start looking at these other projects. So maybe you guys want to look at us and go, hey, yay for Bulls and Apes coming in, because we're bridging people. That's our goal. Our goal is to bring these people in. And our project's already done that. We have so many people that when we started, we were walking them through, like I said, opening Coinbase accounts, going to MetaMask and setting up MetaMask. We have so many people that if you go through our Twitter that have said, oh my gosh, this is the first project I've ever gotten into the Web3 space, the first NFT I've ever owned. I'm so excited. That's what we're excited about. We want to find those people and get them in here. And that's what we're doing.
Yeah, love
So
the
Gary,
man or hate the man. What it reminds me a lot of is Elon Musk, right? What he does with Tesla, all of his patents being public. Someone approached him and said, aren't you scared that somebody's going to take what you're doing and make it better? And he says, good. That's exactly what I want. And it seems that like you guys are on that parallel there of creating something, I don't want to call it radical, but unique, something we're not used to in the NFT space with this and things like that. And really paving the way so that 10, 15, X number of years down the road, we look back and say like, hey, this was the new standard. You guys have created the new standard of NFTs. And the number one thing that really excited me about your project was at the end of your homepage, after listing all of these things that you guys are doing different, it says, don't expect this in NFT projects, demand it.
Right.
And it's so true.
Yeah, it's true. Going back to that customer service background, community service is our community, our customers should demand something different. They should hold us as a project to a higher standard because we hold ourselves to a higher standard. We expect excellence out of ourselves. And if we have a mistake, if we fall down, we're going to be honest. And we have. If something happens, we're not running from the truth. We're going to face it front forward. We're going to say, hey guys, we had some issues with our team and things didn't go as smooth as we wanted to. We had a couple scenarios with our smart contract. By the way, our smart contract was reviewed and audited 5 times because we had this unique fact of an ETH-Back Guarantee. We weren't going to take an off-the-shelf smart contract and say, okay, we're rolling with this. We took our smart contract and we had it audited 5 times. So we're very conscious of that security and safety. And if we make a mistake, we're going to be honest. I mean, nobody's perfect, right? Nobody in this space is perfect. And we're going to learn from that. And that's the greatest thing is if something happens, we're going to say, okay, we're not going to make that thing again, right? And we're going to learn from it. We're going to build. Our community is going to be active. We have an amazing, super active community, and we want to embrace it. I mean, there's been things that we talked about, our plan, our roadmap, and our community decided something different. And we're like, okay, let's go that direction. As an example, I'll give you 2 examples. One, we did this ETH-Back Guarantee and our community came back to us and said, hey, you know what? A lot of times when we buy an NFT, we buy it with a hot wallet and they want to move it to a cold wallet. And part of your issue is that if you move it once it's purchased, you're voiding that ETH-Back Guarantee. And we're like, you're right. I mean, how we're over here touting security and being safe, and then we're going to expect you to hold your NFT in a hot wallet when you want to put it in a cold wallet. So we changed that part of our smart contract. We said, okay, we're going to give you 3 hours after you purchase your NFT with your hot wallet to move it to your cold wallet for storage. That was a change that we made. Another example is that we knew that traits were going to be super important in our collection because we have over 450 or over 400 traits. And, there's a project out there. You guys are probably familiar with Lazy Lions, and they have a trait group called the Lazy Hats. And we thought that was super cool. You've got this trait that not necessarily a high value trait, but because the community decided that they liked it and they valued it, that has some of the highest floor of their entire project because the community decided. So we knew that was going to be important and we wanted to keep an eye on it. So we're like, okay, we're going to watch our traits. Well, our project starts, and within 2 weeks of our project starting, we have over 30 trait groups in our project. Over 30 different communities said, you know what? We love the skateboards. We love the alpha shirts, which is they call the Alpha Bull Club, ABCs. We love the I'm trying to think of all the different trait groups that we have. Everybody's gonna hate me for not remembering because I mean a lot of them because I'm a whale. But we have a football trait group. We have laser eyes, which they call the believers that shoot lasers. They call them the believers. So we have all these trait groups, and we thought, you know what? This is too important to just say, we support you, but we want to do something with you guys. So we brought additional staff on to be able to coordinate and work with our trade groups. And we actually go through a certification process now. So we have a trade group come to us and say, you know what, we want to start a trade group. Now, anybody can do anything they want with our collection because they own the IP rights to their bull. So if somebody wants to go out and do something with a trade group, we're not going to say no, as they have the power to do what they want.
Right.
But if they put together some kind of roadmap, if they've got core values that align with ours, if they've got some kind of leadership structure, then we say, you know what, come to us. We'll give you a basic form that you fill out. You sign it saying you're going to do these things, and we're going to certify you. Now, once we certify you, that means now we're going to put you on our social media. We're going to broadcast what you're doing. And if you've got a cool idea for, let's say, some philanthropy, or you want to do something fun for an IRL, bring it to us, present us with a business plan. So now we're getting back to that business structure.
Right.
Bring it. Let us review it, and we're going to partner with you. We will put our money behind you to say we support what you guys are doing. So we're embracing our trade groups and saying, you guys are important to our project. You guys are a part of our community, and we want you to be successful. Because if you're successful, the overall project's a success, right? The rising tide lifts all boats, like I say. So we want to embrace those trade groups, and they're doing it. It's crazy what these guys are doing. We've got some professional skateboarders that have joined our skate group. We have a professional football, soccer players that are in one of our trade groups. So they're really reaching into their community and finding these community members that have some influence and impact. They're doing things that are awesome. We actually have our first meeting this week with a trade group that has a plan that they want to present to us. So we're super excited about that they're going to come give us a plan and present it to us. And then we're going to look to see if we can do a partnership. And that's what we want to do. And that's all about, that's an additional utility we're giving back to our holders. We're not just saying, hey, go off on your own. We're saying, let's do this together. This is a path that we're going to go together. We're going to ride this train together, whatever, you want to say. This is a team effort, and it's a team effort with all of us. And I'm super stoked about it.
I was just thinking, like, I wonder what your friends said to you when you went, no, I'm gonna go do this NFT project. Like, what was that like? Because I know what it's like in my life when I try explaining it. People look at me like I'm crazy, but you're a pretty successful business guy transitioning into something that a lot of people just don't understand.
Yeah, that's hard. It's hard with my family. I mean, and it's funny. This is funny. I told my wife about it, and she's like, oh, those Yu-Gi-Oh cards you're playing with?
That is funny.
My wife, of all people, right? So I remember at Christmas time. Yeah, I remember at Christmas time last year, I was trying to explain to her what NFTs were. And I've got ideas. Everybody has ideas of what they're going to do with their own NFT, right? So
right.
I was explaining to her, oh, this would be really cool. And we kind of got in an argument about it to where she was like, this is the most ridiculous, silly, immature thing I've ever freaking heard. What the hell are you talking about, right? And I was upset because here I am invested in these communities, and we get invested. One of the things I don't think people outside of Web3 understand is when you're buying an NFT, you're financially invested, but you get emotionally invested. You get emotionally invested with not only the NFT that you have, but you get emotionally invested with the community. The communities are amazing. I mean, I've been in a lot of other projects, and there's some amazing communities. Maybe I'm a little biased. I think ours is the best. But the community is what this space is all about. That's what has built Web3 to this point. And she just doesn't connect that. She doesn't feel that feeling of, man, I've got my PFP on my Twitter and I'm in a space and somebody shouts me out and says, oh, check out Tank Man down there with the Bulls and Apes. Dude, that makes me feel good. I mean, I'm like, oh, somebody noticed me. It's like a club. And I don't think people realize that emotional connection you get to your PFP in the community. And so trying to articulate that to my friends or my family that have absolutely no idea, it's been difficult. I mean, I send my mom a video and she's like, okay, try to explain this to me. So I sent her the last live YouTube we did, and she finally called me. She's like, okay, now I get it a little bit. I still don't understand what you're doing, but okay, I get it. And I don't know. I think that is part of what we're trying to do as a project. That's that Web 2. How many people understood the internet? How many people, when the internet started people said, oh my God, this is never going to stick.
Right.
Nobody's ever going to get on and, oh, you're going to order your groceries on the internet. Oh, you're going to order your clothes. Nobody's ever going to do that. You want to go into a store. I think that is where we're at with Web3. You know, this is Web 2 20 years ago, when nobody thought it was going to be anything, and look what it is now. Amazon has taken over. You know, everything on Web 2 is you can do everything. You can pay your bills, you can buy your groceries, you can buy your clothes. I mean, crap, you don't even have to leave your house. You know, everything can be done on Web 2. And I think that when people wake up and realize that this is the direction Web3 is going, but it's going to be so much more immersive, so much more connected than what Web 2 is, then the light bulb will go on and people will realize, okay, that's where this is going. And that's what we want to be a part of. You know, we want to be in that, and we want to provide that transition to bring people in and say, look, guys, you need to look over here because this is something that's really cool.
Yeah, I will say that. So I'm in my 20s, and even still, whenever I bring up NFTs to people, I get the same thing. Like, I asked somebody just casually, you know, hey, so are you into NFTs? Do you collect any? And they laughed at me. They thought I was making a joke. You know, they're like, no. Little do they know, you know, NFTs paid for my wedding. I just got married last month, and NFTs, you know,
Congratulations.
literally. Yes, thank you.
Married, yeah. 20,
Come on now, I love to rock it.
22 years last Friday.
Oh, yes, sir. Congratulations yourself.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, you know, NFTs literally helped me, put me in a position where I wouldn't have been otherwise. And what I wanted to say is the most exciting to me is that, you know, to your internet comment, here in Web3, we actually have the opportunity by investing in Ethereum to own a piece of that internet, right? I mean, how cool is that?
I know. And we're all owning a piece of it. I mean, by owning an NFT, by owning, I mean, we're owning a piece of that. You know, Web3, blockchain. What is blockchain? I mean, we're all a part of that. We all have a say. You know, when you go on Web2 and you're searching, you're clicking, you have no control. You're throwing your money into something. You're hopefully somebody's going to be nice to you, and somebody's going to, do whatever. In Web3, we're all a part of Web3. Now that makes it even scarier, though, and I think that's where that barrier is that people are like, wow, going into Web3, we're our own worst, enemy sometimes, because if we're not being careful, we're not watching what we do. We don't have a customer service phone that we can call up and say, oh my God, I pressed the wrong button and I lost my cryptocurrency, or
Right.
Oh my God, I gave access to my MetaMask and somebody just stole all my NFTs. You can't just pick up the phone and ask for customer service and make it all right. So I think that's going to be the struggle that we have in Web3 is trying to educate people on, we have all this amazing freedom. Nobody's going to tell you who you can't trade your cryptocurrency or NFTs to, who you can sell them to, what price you want to place them. You're not, well, I don't want to say you're not going to get taxed, because God only knows where that's going to go.
Right.
But at least right now, we have 100% control over everything that we do in the Web3 space. And that's scary. So we want to educate the people coming in to make sure that they're not going to make those mistakes, because the first person that gets taken for all their NFTs in their wallet, they're going to be like, well, crap, I'm out of here. I don't want to deal with this anymore. And that's not what we want. Same thing with cryptocurrency. Same thing with all these rugs. You buy into a project, next thing you know, off goes the founder and you're left holding something that has zero value. That sucks. But that's where education comes in. That's where companies like us and other strong companies and strong project in this space step up and say, you know what? We're not going to let this stand. We're going to educate our holders. We're going to educate our community. We're going to educate our users, and we're going to help them be successful in this space. So they're here for the long haul, because them being here for the long run is what's going to make this entire space successful.
Absolutely. I do have a couple of questions. So you mentioned Lazy Lions, but I'm just curious, what was the first NFT you ever bought? And then what's your favorite project outside of the project that you have?
So that's an interesting one. So the first project I ever bought was a project called Bulls on the Block. I'm still a holder. I still have them in my wallet.
I remember Bulls on the Block.
Yes, I'm not getting rid of them. I have a lot of hope for the project. They're struggling, but their community is strong and they're trying to do some cool stuff. So I'm still a holder. Man, what's my favorite project outside of this, outside of our project? That's hard.
It's loaded. Yeah.
That's a loaded question. So, I'm in the Julie Pacino. I don't know if you know who Julie Pacino is. She's the daughter of Al Pacino.
Mm-mm.
Okay.
Okay. She has a project called Keepers of the Inn, and I own a couple of hers. I bought into that project and think it's really cool because I'm also I've dabbled in the entertainment industry. I've been an executive producer for some short films. My daughter's been in a number of films and commercials. I have a lot of family members in that industry.
Okay.
And she was the very first one to ever sell an NFT to fund a full feature movie called Keepers of the Inn. So I
Hmm.
bought into her project. I've actually talked to her on Spaces. She's awesome. So I think that that project is really cool. The reason I think it's cool is because it's stepping outside of Web3 and it's
Mhm.
trying to draw an industry into Web3 that's not here. So that's what I like. I like projects that are being innovative. I like projects that are looking outside of our little ecosphere here and saying, okay, what can I do outside to bring people into Web3? What can I do to make an impact and make a statement? So I like her project a lot. So that would be one project I like. And then there's projects in this space. You know, we mentioned Kumite. I'm a holder of Kumite, and I
Me
really
too.
believe in Kumite. And they have a roadmap that's similar to ours. They have doxed founders. One of the founders was the creator of Comic Con. I'm sure everybody's heard of Comic Con, right?
Absolutely.
So yeah, so he started Comic Con. He's one of the founders. So we believe in that project. That's a project that we support. We did a collab with them. So I hold their project as well. So I'm being selective. I hoarded my Ethereum because I bought in heavy to my project. You know, I'm one of the whales because I believed in it. So I minted like everybody else. I minted in the allow list and I minted in public. Um, so I kind of hoarded for a while, but now that I've hold my bulls, I'm starting to look at other projects and saying, you know what, I want to get involved with other communities because I think it's important to support. You know, we can't just be inward looking, right? I mean, in this space, you can't just look at yourself and think that I'm the greatest thing. We need to go out there and look at other projects, and we need to say, hey, you know what? I like what you're doing. I believe in you. I'm going to invest in your project. Yes, I'm an executive with with the Bulls and Apes project, but I want to buy into yours because I think you guys have got something really cool here. So that's what I'm starting to do now and starting to look at those other projects and buy in.
Yeah, the space moves so quickly that who knows what a new project is going to bring to the table that you hadn't even heard of yet, right? You guys are a prime
Right.
example of that with your ETH buyback and everything all the utility that you guys are providing, being funded before the actual launch. And so, yeah, I think we definitely will continue to learn in this space, see what these new projects are doing that we can incorporate into ours. We do the same here with our show, see what different shows are doing that we can incorporate into ours. And in the words of Sam Walton, we're just stealing shamelessly, right?
Right. Very
Yeah.
cool. Very cool. Yeah, no, I agree. I think it's exciting. You know, everybody says, "Oh, we're early." Man, that is such a true statement. True statement in this space. You know, people are like, "Oh, we missed the boat." You know, we're in this bear market, this NFT winter, I guess we could call it. And it sucks. It's scary. Things have dropped. Luckily, you know, we launched in the bear and we're above floor, so we've been blessed that we've got a strong community. But for a lot of other projects, they're not in that place. You know, they launched last year and they're strong projects and they're weathering the storm. And I'm cheering for them. But man, once we get out of this, once crypto, you know, starts to return, once Ethereum returns, once Bitcoin and a lot of these other tokens and coins that will hopefully come back, once things start to return, it's going to be cool to see it, and then we're going to really see some movement. It's going to take all of us though. We're going to all need to stick with it. We're all going to have to be here for the ride. We have to ride this thing out. Yeah, it's scary. It's down again today. You know.
Yeah, yes, sir. Absolutely. Up
Yeah, I
over the
was going
last
to
7 days,
ask you,
but
what was that? Yeah,
you
what
got a
was
house
that
first.
like? I mean, you put all this money into your project, and all of a sudden, the market's where it's at. Like, what? How was that in the team, and like,
It
how did
was
you guys pull through that and sell out? Like, what was it?
so it was scary. And you know, it was scary because when we launched the project, or when we were starting to develop the project at the beginning of the year, everything was still good. I mean, there was some stuff on the horizon. We kind of knew it was coming, and we were like, okay, are we going to get this project out before it really takes a dump? And as we started getting closer to our mint, we started listening to people, and they're like, "Oh man, you're not going to mint out a 0.22 public price? Are you crazy? 10,000 in this market?" And we said, you know what? We believe in our utility. We believe in what we're bringing to the table. We believe in our tokenomics. We're going to actually stick this out, and we're going to do it. And we minted out in less than 67 hours in this market at that price. And so we're proud of ourselves. We stuck to our guns. We had a lot of people around us saying that we shouldn't do it, saying we should drop our pricing. And we said, you know what? No, we believe in what we're creating. And we did it, and we were successful. But now we need to deliver. That was one just mark. That was the beginning. We built for months to build up to mint. And like Guy, one of our founders, always said, that wasn't the destination. That was just the beginning. And it was. Once we minted out, now the eyes are on us. Now it's time to produce, and now it's time to execute. And that's what we're doing. We're producing, we're executing, and we've got a plan, we've got a vision, and man, we're full steam ahead. It's awesome.
Yeah, and in the words of
it's
Bane.
awesome. And
you got it, Hofstra?
No, I was just going to say we're coming up on time. It's 55 minutes. This has been really good hearing. I love your energy around the project. It makes me want to just get off here and go buy one, and probably will. But
cool.
No, I love it. Is there anything else that you want to point people to that are watching this, or anything that you want to leave us with before we wrap?
You know what? I guess the thing that I want to leave people with is especially right now, man, don't click on anything that's a DM. Please be super safe. There's so many things happening right now. There's so many of these free mints that are being thrown out there. I'm asking everybody, do not click on anything. If it's free, don't click on it. If you insist on doing free mints, this is my suggestion. Get 2 wallets. Move all your assets into one wallet. Get a minting wallet, throw some Ethereum in there, and utilize that as your minting wallet for anything free that you want to jump into. You mint it, you get it in your wallet, you figure out it's safe, then great, you can move it. If you get something that's not safe, trash that wallet and start all over. But that's the biggest thing that I'm seeing right now is, please, you guys, protect your wallets. Don't click on it. Don't do your research. I mean, we talked about DYOR, right? Do your own research. It is so much more important in this space right now because everybody's out there with all of these scams, and I'm seeing it. We see it in our project. It's so terrible. It's gut wrenching. But what can we do? There's no customer service you can call. All we can do is say we're sorry and try to help them out. But that's the only thing. I think if I'm going to part is, please don't click on that free crap, dude. It's not worth it.
Absolutely. Yeah. We
Ladies and gentlemen, yeah.
But that being said, to close the show out, I'm going to give you a quote from the great Bane from Batman. Other projects merely adopted the bear market. You guys were born in it, molded by it, and you didn't see the bull market until you were already established.
That's right, baby.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you guys are in a great position. I'm just going to flash your socials up here. We'll have the links to all of them in the bio, but you guys have got Instagram, LinkedIn, your official website, which was awesome. Tankman, of course, thank you so much for coming on. Got to show your Twitter here as well. I definitely wanted to harp on this one more time before we went. For anybody who is interested in the project, obviously Discord's a great place to go, but I found a ton of information on their YouTube. That's something that not a lot of other projects are doing. The lore was an awesome video. And then Tankman himself got a God Bull. So if you were interested in the tokenomics that he was talking about, check this video out. It goes into great detail, and it was a really awesome resource. Otherwise, Bulls and Apes on OpenSea, Bulls Apes Project on Twitter. We're the Web3 DJs. We've got another awesome show lined up for you guys Wednesday with Gutter Mud, so make sure you tune into that. We've got a giveaway going on live on our Twitter right now, so any of you guys who are watching, check it out. And our previous artist, our previous guest, will be souping up your profiles with a custom banner. Otherwise, like I said, we're the Web3 DJs, #1 source for all things NFT crypto. If it's happening, we're talking about it. Tankman Gary, thank you so much for coming on. We cannot thank you enough. It was an awesome episode. Until next time, peace.